You're welcome to another episode of Fertility Talk with Olarunke Thaddeus. How are you doing? Compliment of the season to you all. On today's episode, the topic for discussion is importance of surrogacy contracts in a surrogacy arrangement. Of course, let me start with the definition of what surrogacy is. Surrogacy is when another woman helps you to carry your pregnancy. So right before you venture into these arrangements, it is very important for you to have a contract signed. Whether you're doing anonymous surrogacy or whether it is known surrogacy, whether you're getting a family member or a relative to be a surrogate mother for you, surrogacy contract is very important and is something you should do before you start surrogacy at all. Okay, so let's talk about what a contract is. Surrogacy contract, like I said, is a crucial legal document that outlines the rights, responsibility, and the expectation of all parties involved in a surrogacy arrangement. Here are some of the reasons why it is very important to have a surrogacy contract. One is for clarity and understanding. The contract clearly defines the roles and responsibility of all parties, the intending parents, the surrogate mother, even the surrogacy agency if you're using an agency. Okay, so all roles are defined in the contract. This includes expectation regarding medical procedure, parental care, and post-birth arrangement. Yes, so for clarity and understanding, it is very important to have a surrogacy contract written by a professional, a lawyer in particular. Another reason why a surrogacy contract is very important is for legal protection. You might just think, oh, this contract is an ordinary piece of paper. I do tell my intending parents that it is not. I have had cause to use this contract a lot of time, and whenever I go through it and see that some clauses covered and protect me, protect my intended parents, protect my surrogate mother, we share whatever the case might be. Oh my God, I normally feel very, very happy and on top of our job. Okay, so a well-drafted surrogacy contract provides legal protection for all parties involved. It helps prevents potential misunderstanding or disputes by establishing a clear framework for the surrogacy journey. Okay, so all potential disputes are discussed in the contract, and the way disputes will be settled is also discussed in the program. Think about every dispute that you could think of that could come up. A well-prepared surrogacy contract would definitely have your back. Okay, so that is another reason why you should sign a contract. Then, of course, another reason is for parental rights. The contract addresses issues related to parental rights, especially the intending parents as the legal parents of the child through surrogacy. It is also very important for securing the legal status of the child. Even as you might think, as little as you might think, the name, who should name the baby, all these are well stated in the contract. So the parental right, this contract establish your rights as the parents of the child. Of course, it shouldn't be misconstrued as custody order. You will need to get to court to get that, but it's just it relinquishes rights of the surrogate mother legally on the contract. Also, another reason why surrogacy contract is very important is that it stipulates the compensation and the expenses for both intending parent and the surrogate mother, especially if you're using the agency. If you're using an agency in your surrogacy, the fees will be stipulated, will be well outlined. And if you are the one conducting the surrogacy arrangement between yourself and the surrogate mother, of course, you should ensure that all the fees that you're going to pay the surrogate mother is well stated out and you follow its suit, because if you don't, you may be sued, okay, for breach of contract. So it is very important that your surrogacy contract has all these fees or expenses, such as the medical cost, the legal fee, the surrogacy compensation fee, the wardrobe allowance, accommodation, you know, will be stipulated or should be stipulated on the contracts. Okay, so this is another reason why you should sign a contract. It shouldn't just be that you are entering into surrogacy contracts based on family relationship and all that. You know, contract is always very needed, very important, even if you're using a family member. Okay, so another reason why you should use a contract is for confidentiality and privacy. Still talking about the fee, why it is important to have why it is important to have clarity on what you're paying, or what is being disbursed at each point in time. You know, also you might want to also have a contract that would stipulate an arrangement by numbers of weeks of the pregnancy, what you're paying by numbers of weeks of the pregnancy, such that in case of miscarriage, you don't lose too much fund. Okay, so you know what you have spent so far, and you know what is going to be returned back to you in case of miscarriages. Okay, so this is also one of the reasons why a contract should be in place. Okay, so another reason why a contract is very important in a surrogacy arrangement is for termination clause. There is termination clause in the contract that would tell us when the surrogacy has ended, and if complication arises, what to be done, and it's outlined the procedures, it outlines the legal consequences of any breach. Okay, so this is also one of the reasons why surrogacy contract is very important. You know, so it also tells us about the right of the surrogate mother, to what extent she has a right, and what she should do in the contract, what our obligations are in the contract. Of course, it should also state what the obligations of the intending parents are in the contract. Okay, of course, there are other reasons as well, such as the governing law. The contract specifies the governing laws, which is crucial in the surrogacy contracts from all jurisdictions. It helps ensure that the legal aspects of the contract is complied with. Another reason why surrogacy contract is very important is that, you know, it's good to have consent of the surrogate mother and that of the intending parent, so that you don't start a program that is not legally binding. Okay, so the contract establishes the consent of all parties involved. Even if you're using an agency, yes, the agency would be involved in the contract. So the contract provides framework for decision making throughout the surrogacy process. This includes decision related to medical procedures and other aspects of the pregnancy. Okay, another reason why surrogacy contract is very important before you start your surrogacy journey is that the contract actually stipulates emotional and psychological support for the surrogate mother. The contract may address emotional and psychological support for the surrogate mother, acknowledge potential challenges that she may face during the pregnancy or after the pregnancy. You know, a lot of time intending parent thinks that the moment the surrogate mother gives birth, their obligations to her or responsibilities to her actually stops immediately. No, there could be complication even after, you know, God forbid. If that happens, the intended parent will still be responsible for the care, for the admission fee, and, you know, of the surrogate mother. The contract should be drafted by a legal professional with expertise in reproductive law to ensure that it is comprehensive, enforceable, and compliant with relevant law and regulation. Let me tell you a short story of one of our intending parents. Both of them actually came in for surrogacy, married, but towards the end of the contract, they went separate. They were not together again. So the woman called and said, I must be the custodian of this baby. And the husband called and said, don't release my child to my wife. And you know what? Because we have a contract in place that stipulates who should have that child in case of this scenario, we were able to revert back to our contract and, able to bail ourselves out of the situation. So this is why it is very important to have a contract that is, well-rounded, all covered, discuss all issues that can be emphasized. Like I do say, there is no all and all contract. But, if you're working with a good surrogacy agency that has done a lot of surrogacy, has witnessed so many issues that could come up with surrogacy, then you would definitely have a contract that is, at least to a very large extent, protects your rights in case of issues that could come up that are even unforeseen, that could be, anything you could think of. It's very important to have contract that covers you in whole. So thank you for watching this episode, and for inquiries on surrogacy, please send us a message. You can also follow us on our page on Instagram at Meet Surrogate Mothers. For consultation, kindly call the number showing on your screen. Thank you and God bless.